Hi everyone, welcome to this week's yoga lesson. This week we're going to be looking at the circulatory system, the system of our blood moving around our body. Okay, and we're going to come and start though with our short seated centering and our 3 breaths with the chime. So just come and find a comfortable seated position, and we're just going to come and allow our attention to just notice how we're feeling right now at this moment. So perhaps you might like to gently close your eyes or just lower your gaze. And just take a moment to notice the weight of your body. Notice maybe what's connecting down to the ground. Having a sense of your hands and your arms, your shoulders, soft and relaxed. Having a sense of the length of your spine. And then just noticing the breath as you inhale and exhale, as you breathe in and you breathe out. Just noticing the sensations of the breath in the body, perhaps in the nose. Taking a moment just to check in with yourself. How am I feeling right now? You just come to notice this without making any judgment on whether it's good or bad. Just notice. And we'll come and check in again with ourselves at the end of the session. Okay, I'm going to come and do the chime now. We're going to come and breathe in through the nose with the chime. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. One last time, breathing in, breathing out. So, the circulatory system is made up of your heart, your blood vessels, and your blood. And the blood vessels the blood moves all around your body through the blood vessels, and this is called circulation. And the vessels, the blood goes through the vessels, delivering oxygen, nutrients and water to all the different tissues, and taking away things like carbon dioxide and lactic acid. So we're going to come and start our warm-up by giving a bit of stimulation to our circulation by doing a little bit of body patting. Okay, so we're just going to start. Let's take our legs out actually, and we're just going to start by coming to pat around our legs. So we've got blood vessels, our arteries and veins, which we'll come and learn about later. We've got a big artery that goes up through the inside of our leg, our femoral artery. And just by coming and doing a little bit of patting, we can sort of stimulate a bit of flow. So movement of any kind is really good for our circulation. So if we've been sitting or standing, it's good to come and do some patting or just doing some gentle movement like we're going to come and do in a moment. Up onto the front of our body, gently around the belly, up onto the chest a little bit. And then for the back of the body, we can put our hands into loose fists. I'll just come to turn around so you can see, and just come to use those loose fists, moving up the body. It's like you're giving yourself a gentle massage. I'll just turn so you can see. Up and down. And then coming back to the front and going down the inside of one arm and up the top of the arm. Coming to the other side, down the inside and up the top. And gently with our fingertips around the face. So we have blood vessels and all over the body, under the skin, in the organs. Blood needs to get to all the tissues, all over the body. So there are blood vessels everywhere. Okay. And then we're going to come and do a little bit of brushing. So just imagining you're sort of flicking off water. Again, we're just coming to stimulate through the skin. Down the chest, even we can lift the legs and feet. Brushing. Maybe even the face, gently, and the sense of brushing away. And the back of the body. And then just taking a moment to pause and just noticing any sensations that you notice through the skin and from that gentle patting and brushing exercise. Okay, let's come to do a few more gentle warm-ups. So we're going to come and lie down on our backs, and it's always really good to come and lift the legs up. That's great for our blood flow. Okay, so it's great for the blood flow through the veins, and we'll come and learn the difference between the veins and the arteries later. But just lift up the feet and we'll come into our ankles. So this just helps the blood go through the veins a little bit more easily, going one way and then the other. And then let's come and bring let's come and do a little bit of bicycle movement, getting some movement, starting to warm up the muscles in our legs, our calf muscles, our glutes, our quads, just feeling the legs moving. And then let's come and bring our legs out wide and back in, out wide and back in. And then let's come to hold behind our legs, and we'll come and do a little bit of our rolling, a little bit of our roll asana. And we'll come all the way up to a squatting position. So we won't come all the way up to standing. So next roll, we'll come up to squat. I'll just come to face you. And from here, we'll take our hands together and we'll just come and open up a little bit. Or opening up through the chest and a little twist in the spine there. Opening up to the other side. Let's come and take our hands down to the ground. Lift our hips up and we'll just stay in this forward fold for a moment. Again, we can hold onto our elbows and just gently move from side to side, noticing how it feels the head, the blood maybe going down into the head. Again, a forward fold can be great for circulation as well. And then let's come and gently walk the hands up the legs. We come to find ourselves in our mountain. Oh, I'm a bit cut off. Let me just move my mat backwards a little bit so my head isn't chopped off. Okay, so just notice how you feel after that gentle movement. And then we're going to come, sorry, just adjusting the camera angles here. That is a bit, there we go, hopefully that should be a bit better. Okay, then we're going to come, but what we're going to come and do now is we're going to come and do our sun salutation, but we're going to do a few rounds of our sun salutation. So usually we just maybe do one round quite slowly. This time we're going to try and get our heart rate up a little bit. So our heart lives to the left of the centre of our chest. So it's not all the way over left, it's the centre of our chest, but just slightly over to the left. So just come and find your heart. Place your hands, palms over the heart, and just see if you can notice and sense the beating of your heart. Okay, so we're going to come and do a little bit of, we're going to try and get our heart beating a little bit more by coming to doing some exercise, our sun salutations. Now, yoga isn't really a cardio exercise. So cardio exercises are exercises that raise our heart rate, and yoga isn't really that. But sometimes when we come to go through the sun salutation, we can create a little bit of heat and feel our heart a little bit more. So we're going to come and do that. We're going to do 3 rounds of our sun salutation, and we're not going to really have a pause. We're just going to go straight into the next round. So it's a little bit of a challenge maybe if you haven't done 3 rounds before. I know some of you, we've done that in class, and it's quite uses a bit of energy, but also is quite energizing. So come and see how you go. Okay, so coming to wherever you're practicing, if you've got a mat, coming to the top of your mat. If you haven't got a mat, that's fine. Just making sure you've got space behind you to step back. Okay, let's come and bring our hands in front of our heart centers. Breathing in, we're going to bring our arms up, and breathing out, we're just folding forwards. Breathing in, we're going to step back with the right foot. Holding the breath, we're coming into our plank position. Breathing out, we're going to lower the knees, lower the body. Breathing in, we're lifting up the hands, coming into our baby cobra. Breathing out, we're pushing back into our child pose and downward dog. Breathing in, we're stepping forward with the right foot. Breathing out, the left foot comes to join it. Breathing in, taking the arms out wide. And breathing out, we're going to fold forwards. Breathing in, stepping back with the left leg. Holding the breath into our plank. Breathing out, lowering the knees, lowering the body. Breathing in, our little baby cobra. Breathing out, coming through our child pose into that V-shaped downward dog. Breathing in, stepping forward with the left. Breathing out the right. Breathing in, coming all the way up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, stepping back with the right. Holding the breath into our plank. Breathing out, lowering down. Breathing in, baby cobra. Breathing out, coming back through our child pose into our downward dog. Breathing in, stepping forward with the right. Breathing out the left. Breathing in, coming all the way up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, stepping back with the left leg. Holding the breath as we come into our plank. Breathing out, lowering down. Breathing in, baby cobra. Breathing out, coming back through our child into our downward dog. Breathing in, stepping forward with the left foot. Breathing out the right. Breathing in, coming all the way up. Last one. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, stepping forward with the right. Holding the breath into our plank. Breathing out, lowering down. Breathing in, baby cobra. Breathing out, our downward dog. Breathing in, stepping forward with the right. Breathing out left. Breathing in, coming up. And we're going to finish with our left leg, folding forwards. Stepping back into our plank, holding our breath. Lowering down, breathing out. Breathing in, baby cobra. Breathing out, coming up into our dog. Breathing in, stepping forwards. Breathing out, the right foot comes to meet. Breathing in, bringing your arms up. Breathing out, hands in front of the heart center. Coming to our mountain, and come and notice how you feel. Coming to put your hand back over your heart. My heart is definitely beating faster. I can feel it beating stronger. My body needed more oxygen whilst I was doing that exercise. So my heart had to beat more to send the oxygen round. So our circulatory system is a little bit like a kind of delivery system that delivers all the oxygen and nutrients through the blood. Okay, I need to come and sit down and just take a couple of breaths before we move on. So let's come, find our seat, and let's come and just do a little breath with our fingers together. Breathing in, opening up. Breathing out, closing down. So when we come to breathe, we're helping to get more oxygen to the body. And breathing in slowly, softly and deeply is the way to do this. Okay. And just notice how you feel after taking a few nice, slow, deep, soft breaths. Okay, so as we were saying, our blood travels through our blood vessels. Okay, and their blood vessels are a little bit like a road system almost, that kind of travel through the body, all over the body. And there's some blood vessels that take the blood away from the heart, okay, and they take the blood away from the heart, the blood that has all the oxygen and nutrients in it. And these vessels are called arteries, arteries for away, and we're going to move away, thinking of the arteries. So the arteries move away from the heart, A for away, A for arteries, and they take and deliver all the oxygen to all the different tissues and parts of the body, all the different organs that need oxygen. Arteries moving away. And then the vessels, the blood vessels that bring the blood back once the oxygen has been taken out, are called the veins. And the veins come back to the heart. And you can even make, when you bring your fingers together, you can make a little V in front of you, V for veins. So the veins come back. The arteries move away and the veins come back. So we've got the arteries away and the veins coming back to be sort of oxygenated. And then all around the arteries and the veins, we're going to come and wiggle our fingers. We've got the little capillaries, blood capillaries. And these are tiny little blood vessels that go all over the body, and they're much like smaller than the veins and the arteries. In fact, if you look under your skin on your arm, you might be able to see some of your veins, and the capillaries are really tiny. They're like 1/10 of the width of a strand of hair, so they're really small, but they're everywhere. And in the capillaries is where the oxygen and the carbon dioxide actually gets exchanged, because they're really sort of have really thin walls. And an interesting fact about our arteries and veins and capillaries, about our blood vessels: if you took all of our blood vessels out of our body and put them next to each other, made them into one long line, they would be 60,000 kilometers long. Isn't that crazy? And that is enough. Our blood vessels would wrap around planet Earth 2.5 times. It's almost like we can't really imagine it, but we've got that length of blood vessels in it. And most of it is the little capillaries that are so tiny. So let's come and find a really nice long pose. We're going to come to our kneeling. We're going to take one hand down and we're going to take one foot out, and we're going to bring our other arm up. So we're creating a long line from our fingertips all the way down to the outside edge of that foot, just creating a really long line. Maybe not quite long enough. We can even lift that foot if we want to. Not quite long enough to stretch around the earth 2.5 times, but still pretty long. Let's come and do the other side. Taking the other arm over, so we've got this long line stretching through the side of the body. So remember, we've got our arteries that move away, and our veins that come back, and our capillaries all over. Okay, so, and often in diagrams, when we look at diagrams or pictures of the circulatory system, the arteries will be drawn in red and the veins will be drawn in blue. Now, the blood that's in our veins is not blue, but it is a slightly different colour. So the blood that goes through our arteries, that has all the oxygen in it, is a much brighter red. And when the oxygen is taken out of the blood becomes a kind of darker red colour, but it's never blue. But there is an animal that does have blue blood, and the animal that has blue blood is called a mussel. So they're a little sea creature, they're a mussel, and we're going to come and do, it's a clam pose actually, but I'm going to think of, clams in the sea, a little bit like mussels, and it works our muscles on our legs, this pose. So we're going to come and do our mussel stroke clam pose to work our muscles. So finding your way onto the ground with your forearm, fingers are pointing forward, got the elbow under the shoulder and your knees bent. Now we've got two options for this pose. We can bring our top hand to the hip like a clam. We can come and open the top leg, and we can just come and do that, and we can feel that working the muscles. Now if this feels quite easy and you want a little bit of an extra challenge, we're going to come and do 5 of these. We can lift up as we open our leg, the bottom leg, so we can come and lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you should feel that in the muscles, possibly your glutes. Let's come and do the other side. So coming to do our little clam muscle pose on the other side. So let's come again. So again, remember you've got the option of just lifting the top leg, and if you're coming for the lifting version, lifting the bottom leg too. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So getting those muscles working. So not only do our blood vessels transport all the blood around the body, and taking all the little red blood cells and white blood cells all around the body, our blood also helps to regulate the temperature of our body. So let's come up to standing for this. So come onto our hands and knees. We're going to tuck our toes under, come into a little bit of a downward dog for a moment. Just come and bend and straighten one leg. And we're going to come and walk forward, coming to roll up. So the circulation system helps control the temperature of the body by releasing heat out of the blood. So what happens, like if you imagine, if we come and run on the spot really fast, if we were doing something that made us really hot, like running loads, what would happen is we would feel hot, and maybe you would notice people that have done lots of exercise or that are really overheated, their faces tend to look red. And what the blood vessels do, the blood vessels close to the surface of the skin get bigger and wider. This is called vasodilation. So they vasodilate, they get bigger and wider, and the blood, so the blood is exposed to the temperature. The blood is able to cool down, okay? So let's come and vasodilate. Let's come and take our legs nice and wide and come imagine we're a blood vessel coming open and wide, okay? And so the blood comes closer to the surface of the skin when the blood vessel becomes big and it's able to cool down. Now, if the weather is really cold and the body is trying to conserve heat, the blood vessels constrict, they vasoconstrict, they get smaller, so they become narrower and they get smaller. So they vasoconstrict and they keep the blood deeper, closer or further away from the skin so that heat is not lost. So they help to conserve heat. So let's come and we're going to jump over into our vasodilation and then we're going to come and vasoconstrict. So the blood vessels can open really wide so that they can lose heat, or they can close up so that they can keep heat in. So our circulatory system is pretty clever. Okay, so as well as our blood vessels and the blood that we have running through the circulatory system, of course we have our heart. Now our heart, as we said, is at to the left of the centre of our chest, and it's about the size of your fist. Okay, so we can imagine the heart there, and it's kind of the lungs are around it, so we've got the lungs at the front and at the back of it, so it's kind of snuggled in between the lungs, and the blood goes through the heart a little bit like a pump. Now our heart is the size of a fist. A cow's heart is about the size of a head, and a blue whale's heart, the largest heart in the animal kingdom. There's some things on the internet that say a blue whale's heart is the size of a small car, but I did a little bit of fact checking and I found that actually it's not really the size of a small car, but it is pretty big. It's about 5 foot, which is about, so I'm about 5'9", so it's about up to my neck, this tall, and then about 4 foot wide, so about that wide, and then 5 foot long. So it's pretty big, and it weighs about 180 kilos. Okay, so a blue whale's heart is pretty big. Now let's come down. We're going to do our whale pose. Now for our whale pose, we usually have both hands down and we have both feet up and we lift up. Okay, like this, lifting up on the table. Now we're going to do a bit of a variation of our whale pose. We're going to come and open up a little bit more through the chest. So for this variation of our whale pose, what we're going to do is we're going to have one hand behind. I'm going to bring one hand up. Okay, so I'm trying to find the best angle to show you. So I've got one hand behind me, one hand up, both feet down. We're going to see if we can lift up. So we're pushing into the feet, lifting up the hips and opening through the chest, having a sense of that heart. And let's come and swap our hands and do the other side, opening up. Okay, and let's come and do that a couple more times, opening up through that big whale heart. One more time. It's almost like a breaching whale, this actually, when whales breach. Okay, lovely. All right, so the human heart has 4 chambers, and the upper is divided into 4 chambers, and the upper chambers, the top chambers, are called the atria. And there's a left atrium and the right atrium. And let me just check. The left atrium receives the blood that is rich with oxygen, so that is full of oxygen. That goes into the left atrium. And the right atrium receives the blood that hasn't got any oxygen in it, where the oxygen has been used up. So the bright red oxygen is going into the left atrium, and the less red blood is going into the right atrium. And then the chambers beneath the atria are called the ventricles. And the left ventricle receives the blood from the left atrium, the blood with all the oxygen in it, and it squirts it out to the body where it goes through all the tissues. And the right ventricle receives the blood from the right atrium, yeah, with the less oxygenated blood, and the right ventricle squirts the blood back to the lungs so that it can be filled up with oxygen to be taken back around again. Okay, so, and the blood goes from the top down to the bottom. There's a valve from the atrium down into the ventricles, and you can think of a valve a little bit like a door that only opens one way. So let's come back up to standing, coming to find our all fours, tucking our toes under. Let's walk our feet forward, having a bend in our knees and ankles. We're going to come and roll up. So we can think we've got our left, we're going to have our arms going to be like our left atrium. So I should mirror you actually. So this is our left atrium, get our arm up, and then we've got our left ventricle. Okay, so we're going to get the blood into our atrium, left atrium. We're going to lift up the ventricle, and it's going to come down, and it's going to go out of the left ventricle, down out to the tissues. Then we're going to get the blood into our right atrium. We're going to bring that blood down into the right ventricle, and then the right ventricle is going to pump it back to the lungs. Okay, so we've got this, the atrium and the ventricles on the left side working together, and the atrium and the ventricle on the right side working together. So pretty clever how that works. And we're going to come and do now a couple of heart opening yoga poses. So when I say heart opening, really what it is, it's just they're just poses that are going to stretch open through the chest a little bit. So we have this sense of lifting the heart upwards. Okay, so we're going to come to a kneeling position. We're going to take one foot and we're going to step it forward, and we're going to find our lunge position here. Now just try and find a place where you'll feel stable. Okay, you can have your toe tucked or your toe backwards. We're going to come and move a little bit. So if you feel really wobbly, you can always come and put your hands down and come and move forwards and back with your hands down. Okay, so there's always the option to put your hands down. If you feel balanced and okay, what we're going to come and do is we're going to come and bring our arms up, and as we come forwards, we're going to open through our chest, so we're showing our heart to the sky, and then as we come back, we're going to bring our hands in, like our back is going backwards, and come to straighten the front leg. So we're going to come and bend our front leg, opening through the chest, straightening and coming back. Hiding our heart away, opening our heart to the front, or bringing our heart to the back, opening through the back of the heart, opening through the front of the heart. One more time, opening through the back, opening through the front. Okay, let's come and change side with our legs. I'll come and face you this way. So again, we're finding that lunge position. Okay, just making sure we've got enough width and we feel balanced. You can also always put a blanket underneath your knees if it feels a little bit sore on your knee to be moving back and forwards. Okay, and again, just remember you've got the option to put your hands down, just coming forwards and back in that way. So we're just moving the hips forwards and back. Okay, but if you're coming to balance, we're going to bring our arms up and we're going to come forwards, opening the heart, and then as we come back, we're going to bring the hands together, straighten the leg. So showing the heart to the sky and then heart to the back. Let's come and do that a couple more times. Opening through the chest, opening through the back. One more time. Opening through the heart, opening through the back. And then coming to bring your knees together. We're now just going to come and explore our camel pose. So taking a moment to pause in this kneeling position. Taking a breath, and then we're going to come and tuck both toes. From here, I'm going to bring my hands to the back of my body to support as I come to lift the chest upwards. So it's a sort of back bend, but also rather than just going back and just pushing out from the hips, I want to have this sense of lifting up through the chest. Okay, so lifting up through the chest. You can let your head come back if it feels comfortable, and the neck, otherwise you can always keep your chin tucked in. And then coming back up gently. So again, this creates quite a lot of heat in the body, quite an energizing pose, even though it's a relatively small movement. Let's come and do that one more time. We're going to lift the chest, come back. Okay, just breathe here. And then coming all the way back up. Now we're going to come and maybe do that one more time. You can keep your hands on your back, or if that felt quite okay and you're able to breathe quite easily, you can come to C. We can take one arm up and take it behind to hold onto the ankle, taking the other arm up, holding on the ankle, and again having this sense of lifting through the chest, opening through the front of the body. Breathing in, opening and lifting. And then to come out, just coming to bring one hand forward and the other. And then just coming to allow yourself to fall down over your legs into your child pose. Taking a little bit of a rest here. Noticing how that feels. Now, so we're going to come into our resting pose now, and I should have said for our rest, what would be really good to have would be either a folded up blanket or a pillow of some kind. We're going to come and put our legs up, and actually in another video we did legs up the wall, but we're going to come and do legs now without a wall and just have some support underneath our sacrum and lower back, okay, and see how that feels. So you can make a kind of like a little stack of cushions, or just a blanket, roll up a sort of blanket. It doesn't have to be really high or anything. And then what we're going to do for our rest, we're going to come and we're going to just lie back, and we're going to have the blanket on our sacrum, which is the part just underneath our spine at the top of our buttocks, really. Okay, and then from there we're going to just come and let the legs come up. So we were talking before about, this is really good for the veins. So remember, the veins bring the blood back to the heart. So when we have our legs up like this, it's really helpful for the veins because they're not having to go against gravity. So this is really nice, and this is really good if you've been on a long flight. Just to come and do if you've been sitting a lot. So it's just nice to just reverse the blood flow, and by putting our feet up like this, we can come and do this. Now, if you feel comfortable to keep your feet up, then please do. If at any point you want to just let them come down, you can come into our constructive rest pose with the feet down, or you can just come and let your legs come out straight. So this is up to you. We're going to bring both our hands over the center of our chest, our heart center. And we're just going to come and have this sense of our heart. So for a long time, scientists have thought of the heart as a pump, and in many ways it is, but scientists are also now thinking about the heart as a sensory organ. So not just simply as a mechanical pump, but the heart as something that does influence how we feel and think, just in the same way that we're starting to understand that we have a sort of gut brain. The heart in many different cultures, and especially in ancient cultures, was really, thought of to be as more important than the brain, for instance. And we often talk about coming from the heart. So coming from a place of heartfeltness, of love, of feeling. So really important to connect into this sense of your heart and this sense of heartfeltness. How does your heart feel? How does it feel when you really care and love about something? Let's just I'm going to actually come and bring our legs down now for the rest of our relaxation. You can just have your feet in constructive rest or stretched out. So thinking about something that you really love, something or someone maybe that you really love, and noticing when you think about that thing that you really love, how it feels in your body. What kind of feeling do you get when you think about something or someone that you really love? And then trying to have a sense of sending that feeling around the whole of your body, sending love around the whole of your body, sending love to all the cells in your body, every part of your body. Send your body some love. And if you want to, you can also take the blanket out from underneath the ears. So having a sense of love, a sense of rest and peace. Closing the eyes gently and just allowing yourself to come and take some rest and let the body settle. So after our moving practice, after all the movement that we did, learning and thinking about our circulatory system, just coming to allow yourself to rest now. Maybe having a sense of the beat of your heart still, just notice how it is. Or maybe you can allow yourself to kind of visualize and have a feeling the blood flowing through your body, delivering the oxygen, doing the amazing job that it does, working with your respiratory system, and your digestive system. So we can see how all these systems, they wouldn't work if they were on their own. They all need each other to actually to work. The body needs all its parts, just how we all need each other to really to kind of work and be in life. We need each other. We need to work together, just in the same way as all the systems in our bodies help and assist each other. We need to do that in our families, with our friends, in our communities, in the whole world. And then gently letting the knees come to the side, and remember you can always stay in your resting pose for longer. Taking your top arm and bringing yourself up to sitting. Taking a moment to pause, and again just to check in. And just again maybe bringing your hands to your heart center and just this sense of real love for the whole of your being. Love and gratitude for the whole of your amazing being. I hope you enjoyed this exploration and lesson, everyone. Let's come and bring our hands together and we can bow to each other. Namaste. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.